Hi, welcome to the bathtub. When you hear this great, stirring, historical moment,
We've begun the search for hidden chemical and biological weapons and already know of hundreds of sites that will be investigated.
that's probably our greatest president. Yuck, yuck. Announcing the great success, the mission accomplished in Iraq back in 2003 or something when we won the war. Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but we did. We won the war. Mission accomplished. 2003. He said that aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln, and we use that as a quote today because we have another historical moment, almost as monumental as our great resounding victories, historical military victories. And this is that I have completed reading the entire Maigret series published by Penguin, new translation, since about 2013, 2014. The entire series has come out. New translations, all I think 88 novels and maybe 2 collections of stories. Don't quote me exactly on figures, you know that. But I've read them over the past 10, 12 years and just finished them with the last book Simenon wrote, Maigret and Monsieur Charles. One of the better ones, a really, really good one to go out on. But he doesn't do any one of these, you know, like they do in TV series and sitcoms where they have everyone gets married or everyone, you know, gets on a spaceship and goes out, leaves the planet or something. You know, some big resounding last episode. There's no real resounding last episode. Maigret goes away the same way he came in, a kind of nondescript old guy, big guy, big hulky guy who's very quiet, very almost never has a gun, doesn't do much shooting, just talks to a lot of people, and drinks a lot of brandy. Really wanders around Paris drinking brandy, and that's really what we all want to be doing. The last volume, it was published in France in 1972. Excuse me here, don't have my glasses. This is as usual. This is our second. The pets just completely drive through everyone every time I do one of these. I've banished Dodo to the hall because she wouldn't shut up. Lucky's at my feet. I did one of these before. Lucky's doing better. Thank you for asking. She's on various anti-anxiety medications, which I'm thinking I'm dipping into myself sometimes. And mainly the training. We've been doing some training with her. It's nothing perfect, but we're doing our best. But as soon as I started to film this, she tried to get up into my lap. I'm nervous about getting her in my lap because she just turns so quickly. She gets threatened or feels something's bothering her and she starts snapping. And I don't want to set her off. But anyway, she's at my feet right now, thinking about whether she should bite my feet or not. I'm pretty sure that's what she's doing. And then Dodo I had to put out there because she just wouldn't shut up. So this is our second filming of this. 1972. I'm sure I read this. I remember almost all the Simenons I read in the original editions. I used to collect these. I've shown you the beautiful Penguin three-furs and the Penguin editions of Maigret. This is one of my favorites, Maigret in Society. The Hamish Hamilton first editions. This is a beautiful one. And Maigret and the Gangsters. Both were translated again by Penguin, and so I have now been starting to sell off all my old first editions on my eBay site. Someone told me I wasn't going to live forever. I literally just found this out the other day. I'm not living forever, and I might as well sell this stuff because, you know, Lucy's not going to do it. It's going to be landfill if I don't sell it for some money. So I'm happy with these Penguin editions, which are quite cool, in the uniform editions. Okay, what more do I have to say? I'm going to put a little link below to to a piece I wrote in the New York Times in 2015, when I first started this project of reading through the complete Maigrets from beginning to end. It's really easily one of the most pleasurable projects I've ever done in reading. It's just, you know, I was talking to our friend Bruce Ferber, one of our bathing buddies today, and he's reading some of these too now. And no matter how many things you have on your mind, how much things are bothering you, we all look for a little comfort food. And weirdly enough, the Simenon Maigrets are the perfect comfort food. They're intelligent. They're not schlocky murder mysteries like Rex Stout or Earl Stanley Gardner. They're basically an old guy walking around Paris learning about why somebody got killed, and he has a sort of an affection and interest in most of the characters. Occasionally he dislikes somebody, but very, very rarely. And they just really draw you in. Nothing spectacular happens in them, but they're just very intelligent and they're never phony. I have to say, I never feel like they're phony. So the last one, the Maigret and Monsieur Charles, I'm still shaking from the dog and the parakeet in the last one. Um, and there's something I have. It says here, read a passage. I don't know what the hell passage is supposed to be. In the last one, it's about a guy who's fairly getting a lot of well-off middle-class businessmen who disappear, and his wife comes to see Maigret and says, "My husband's disappeared, and I'm pretty sure something bad has happened because he's been gone for a long time." And as Maigret investigates, the wife is a total drunk, just a complete drunk, kind of a real sad, screwed-up woman, and just completely pissed out of her mind. And as Maigret investigates and starts to talk to her, he learns that this guy, Monsieur Charles, every few months ago likes to go wander into like clubs and pick up like girls, not prostitutes, but like girls, the strippers or girls that work in the bars or girls who are hostesses in these bars, and take them home and spend a couple of days with them, and then he goes back to his middle class life, where him and his wife, like many of the couples in these books, sleep in separate beds. Unlike the Maigrets sleep in the same bed. Madame Maigret and Mr. Maigret live together quite happily and snugly. And she's always cooking she cooks 3 French meals a day. So it's about this. So it's going in and looking to all these people, going to the different hostesses, talking to them, learning about this Monsieur Charles, who's kind of an easygoing, pleasant guy who likes just going around picking up a girl every once in a while and having a nice time. And in the course of it, Maigret starts to see the alliances between who liked this guy, who didn't, and then at the end, I honestly can't. I think I've already forgotten who killed him. I can't remember why he got killed or who killed him, but he does show up in the river. And he's all eaten up, and they solve. But Maigret solves the crime. At the end of the book, Maigret just kind of wanders off. It's just like every other Maigret novel. He doesn't bring a resounding conclusion. Nothing exciting. There's not a big shootout. Maigret doesn't get killed. Nothing. They don't move away. I mean, the funny part about the Maigrets is that the books are written over about 40 or 50 years of Maigret's life, of Simenon's life. And Maigret's always an old guy who's just about to retire for 40 or 50 years. In fact, there's one period in the 50s when Simenon actually does have him retire. Kind of like throwing Sherlock Holmes off the Reichenbach Falls or whatever they were. And he tries to end the series, and then he can't give it up, and he just brings the guy back. He's retired, and for another 20, 30 years after his retirement, he's still solving these murders. And the better ones actually come after that period in the 50s. Anyway, I don't have too much more to say about it, except I would, now that I've finished the series, and I have 2 minutes without the dog trying to bite me or the parakeet chirping in my ear, I don't know what I'll do. I'm going to miss reading these. I may go back and start reading them from the beginning again. I don't know. The first 10 or 20 of them, I know a lot of people are starting to pick these up and trying them out, and I know they're still good. They're still quite good. They're not as good as the later ones. So I will say, if you stick with them, the Parisian ambiance comes out much more fully in the late books. But I kind of want to go back to start. I mean, the first one is Peter the Latvian. I remember this is probably my least favorite of the whole series. It was kind of a little more of a typical crime whodunit. Again, they're kind of whodunits more than whodunits. They're why did this guy get killed and what was his life like, or this person. That one says the first Maigret novel, and this one says the last Maigret novel. And between those 88 novels, the second one's Late Monsieur Galley. I never remember any of them. There's a couple of short story collections. Do I have 2 short story collections here. One is Death Threats and Other Stories. That has got a lot of Maigrets. And then there's Maigret's Christmas, which is over here somewhere. I'm not going to get up because I don't want to startle the dog. Did I tell you she's going on Prozac. She's on anti-anxiety medication, and then we're training her with special trainers, and she's okay. She's doing her best. There's a couple short story collections, and I think I haven't reread. Oh, here it is, Maigret's Christmas. Okay, Lucky, it's all right. I had to make Maigret's Christmas and Other Stories, and that's mainly Maigret stories, as I recall. I was going to save this for Christmas. It's the only one of the new translations. I've read these stories in old translations. So what else is there to say? They're terrific books. I really enjoyed them. I'll probably go back through them again. 2 other books, if you become interested in Simenon, because we'll still keep on with him. And I may actually go back and reread from the beginning again. I loved this book, Intimate Memoirs. And I think I may not have finished it. I remember really enjoying it. It's his, after he stops writing novels, he spent the last 10 years of his life writing these memoirs. And this is pretty much a fairly honest account of his life, living with one wife, sleeping with the maid, going to whorehouses pretty much every other day, sleeping, having affairs. He brings home another woman home with him who he eventually marries. It's a weird French life that he seems to be fairly comfortable with. And then there's a whole section of it, which is, I think, written by his daughter. It's his daughter's diary, who I believe she died. She committed suicide. Anyway, this is a pretty interesting book as a picture of the man who writes all these books and his kind of openness about his good and bad qualities. Very who's the Rousseauian volume. And then I remember reading this when I did the piece ages ago, Pierre Assoulin's biography of Simenon. There's 2 or 3 biographies of Simenon, but I really enjoyed this one. And this was it was a translation from the French, and I can recommend that. Okay, I was going to read a small passage, but I can't remember which passage I wanted to read. There must be something good here. Let's just start this from the break. This is just the way we move quickly from the crime scene to Madame Maigret fixing nice meals. Okay. Before leaving the police judiciaire, Maigret said to Lapointe, his assistant, "I'd like you to come and pick me up from my place with one of the cars at 11 o'clock. Tomorrow morning. Tonight, I fancy sniffing around a few nightclubs." He loves to go out and look around these nightclubs and see these people, what they're doing. Madame Maigret had set aside the herrings which he loved, and he savored them as he absently watched the news on the television. You see how quickly we move from we're at the police judiciary, we're at his office, and then the next paragraph, he's eating dinner with his wife. That kind of effortless movement from one scene to another is just, it's so wonderfully done in Simenon, and he never wastes your time. From his face, she guessed that the case in hand was no run-of-the-mill investigation, and that it was preoccupying him, that he was almost making it a personal mission. And then if we ever shift point of view, we shift sometimes to Madame Maigret looking at Mr. Simenon. It was true. That day, that mild, clear 21st of autumn, he had been plunged into a world that was foreign to him. Above all, he found himself faced with a type of woman he had never met before, and who disconcerted him. And there you have Maigret and the ultimate Maigret observation. He's fascinated by somebody he has never met before. He doesn't know this type of person, and so suddenly this whole investigation becomes a great pleasure. He says, "Take out a dark suit for me, my best one." What's happening? Lapointe is coming to pick me up at 11. He and I have to visit a couple of nightclubs. Anyway, there's just a little taste of the general calm, collected ambiance of the Simenon Maigret novels. We're finished. Our mission accomplished. Democracy is safe in the world yet again, and we've gotten rid of all the weapons of mass destruction, and we've enjoyed some good books. Okay, stay safe. I hope I wasn't too rambling in this episode. I'm a little flustered. The 2 pets are especially difficult today.